Hi, we're Team Beat Street, and my name is Sal. My name is Sal Abu Ali, and I'm currently attending UIC and majoring in math and computer science. And uh, and we're excited to see what we're seeing, what to show you today. And these are my teammates. If they want to introduce themselves.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody. I'm sorry.
oh, my bad. Hi, my name is Jonathan Egan. I'm currently a junior in the Chicago Math and Science Academy in Rogers Park of Chicago, and yeah, enjoy.
Uh, I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is George Angel. I'm also an undergraduate at the University of Illinois Chicago, pursuing a bachelor's in mathematics and computer science. And I'm excited to show you guys what we have today.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm a senior at the University of Michigan studying user experience design and Southeast Asian studies. I'm excited to present to you guys.
So, Chicago. Our hometown is arguably one of the most diverse and beautiful cities on the map. Whether you're visiting the city for a business or pleasure, there is no shortage of things to do in the area. Travel downtown to Chinatown for some delicious eats, or travel south for a Sox game, or even head downtown for some more surprises. Yet there's one thing that connects them all together, and that's Chicago's notorious reputation for their awful roads. Sorry. Next slide, please. This road degradation throughout the city only amounts to one thing: property damage. Next slide. Every day, thousands of citizens routinely utilize public streets for their daily lives and often subject to expensive vehicle damage when they hit these potholes. And this overall damages the city's reputation. Next slide. And as you can see, it's kind of varies throughout the city. So all over the city, this is an issue. And this leads to my next slide I would like to talk about, which is damage. So speaking from experience, there was a day in the city where I was visiting the downtown area for some pleasure, and I hit a crater that took out two of my left side tires, and resulting in a tow truck and $300 worth of damage. Now this is extremely unsettling, but this is not uncommon, as this happens to, I want to say, hundreds of people every year, and it's very expensive. Next slide, please. With that being said, in 2018, 20,000 potholes were reported throughout the city. Next slide, please. And of those, 89.7% were ignored. For the city to ignore that many requests from its citizens, it's very sad, and it needs to be addressed in order to improve this flawed system.
So, industrial reconstruction or road resurfacing in Chicago has been this ongoing social and economic issue for our communities. And neighborhoods across the city, especially in the south and west sides, face inequity as their defaced streets are disregarded by their own city officials. Next slide, please.
So when it comes to the neighborhood infrastructure, each alderman is usually given approximately $1.3 million every year to take care of not just streets, but could be lights on the streets. But I mean, mainly the budget goes to parts when it goes to street resurfacing. And so the way the potholes or a street gets resurfaced in general, which is the process, would be a person would pretty much report the street to a city official, and then um, it comes up to the alderman, and then the alderman goes to take a look at it, and then he or she pretty much goes to see if the street is even worth fixing. But that's a major problem because one person's opinion may differ from other, and so we took a few steps to try to understand the problem, and in terms of how is this going on, and why is the system even like this, where it's one person makes this decision for pretty much the entire community. And by that, we try to pretty much, I've spoken to a few aldermen to understand the process street resurfacing, and we try to create connections with when it comes to city officials to pretty much, because we kind of want to give them the vibe where we're not trying to pretty much make them seem bad. It's more like we're trying to work with them to solve a specific problem. And people who shaped our perspectives were alderman of the 45th Ward, alderman of the 49th Ward, and the project engineer at the Department of Transportation. And so the way we believe that we can help minimize the distribution when it comes to resources, so pretty much streets won't get ignored in specific areas over others, is so through our app, you'd have the ability to report a beat street. And at the same time, some people might say, well, you can do that by calling 311. Well, that is true, but 311, you just report it and then it's usually anonymous. So the people in your community don't know that you're even reporting a street, and they might have the same problem, but they're thinking, oh, how can my voice, only one voice, make a difference? But with Beat Street, we kind of want to engage with the community and have a voting system where people, once you vote, once you report a street, it'll pretty much be public, and people will get to vote on what streets need to be fixed. And that way it'll prioritize streets that actually need fixing rather than specific where resurfacing would be done in maybe wealthy areas over non-wealthy areas. And another thing that we want to pretty much implement in our app is a bestowed road feature where people can, or even the aldermen or city officials can pretty much take a picture when the road is fixed and upload it into the database where people can pretty much have the ability to see what's been going on with the street that they reported.
So as of right now, our future implementations that our group has been making are is a Nice Street section of our app, which like Sal was just referencing the B Street kind of the bestowed roads kind of version, which is which demonstrates the outcome of your fixed street that which you get from submitting an application of that destroyed neighborhood, destroyed street on that neighborhood. Another implementation being our voting ranking system, which allows the user to view like if their neighborhood has been in a way has been outvoted in the most in a way which kind of shows the aldermen how much of importance have been showed throughout the voting ranking system. With the third implementation being like sharing the reports throughout social media, which allows more users to be attracted towards our app, which we have discussed acquiring that. Next slide. So throughout like more research that we've been doing throughout our app, we found out that like three possible risks have been the amount of applications that will go into being sent to the city, which we have learned like how we've had solutions towards, and with another risk being the management of the roads being resurfaced, and with the last one being like reaching out an agreement to the Department of Transportation to us which roads and which roads and which neighborhoods are as of importance towards them. Next slide. So me and my group we came up with this plan, this 12-month uh like 12-month span in which we've decided to have like at least 16,000 residents, aka users, in different neighborhoods that in majority of different neighborhoods within Chicago, um, and have 15 aldermen to not so called take our app, not so called like take our app, but in a way work with us, so we can get these fixed streets into neighborhoods that are like low income or not being viewed as much. Next slide.
So, to reiterate, Beat Streets encourages you to engage with your community and has a voting system that prioritizes streets that are in need of fixing without any bias to the location of the street. To create a report, a user will begin by selecting the Beat Street report option, and then another option is to report a bestowed road, which would be the road that's been fixed since the reports, and then residents will be providing their phone number, their ward number, um, and a photo, and this will be submitted to the database, in which then the report would be able to be voted upon by residents. Next slide, please.
Yeah, and that's our presentation, and we'll be accepting any questions.
And Sal, did you not just submit your application to be submitted in the App Store?
Yeah, we did submit it to the App Store. So we kind of came back with some features that we need to fix, but potentially over maybe about the next few days to a week, hopefully we'll be able to fix those problems. So the problem that we faced were, for example, so we have our reports stored on a database. So one of the things we're just pretty much getting into was it's a work in progress where we're downloading the report submitted, where it'll just pretty much be on like a table view slide where people can view all the reports that have been submitted by everyone, and then that way it'll be pretty much to the public eye.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions that we could answer for them?
I had a quick question. So I love that you guys talked a lot about the user and how this helps the user. One of the things that I think crossed my mind, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this, is, you know, if the aldermen have difficulty with like handling all this requests of like these beach streets, how does this make it more automated and more time efficient as well as financially efficient for the aldermen to respond to all these requests?
So I like your question, first of all. So one thing when it comes to that is, so we have lots of streets that pretty much get reported through like calling 311, or it'll be like emailing pictures or some sort of thing. But this, we kind of want to be a bit more direct. So it's not just report any street that gets reported that will be fixed, because that way it'll pretty much it'll cause it'll be pretty much controversial with the city, specifically because there's a specific budget that that the spending needs to be maintained. And so with that, which would pretty much be like a ranking system, so it'd pretty much be the top 10 streets that would get repaired every month. And it might 10 streets may not sound like a lot, but as at the beginning, that's our goal. And the 10 streets wouldn't be the choice of city officials. It'll be the choice of citizens. And the reason why we put the ward numbers was because so we can contact the alderman directly and pretty much try to understand because sometimes when the alderman goes to grade it, you have no idea how his thought process is, or how he thinks, is it even worthy or not. And that way we'll pretty much be more direct with the alderman, and we'll get to know their thoughts and why have they not chosen to do this in the past specifically, or this street, or they would pretty much prefer to fix another certain road over the other, even though most people believe that this road's a priority over another.
You have two questions in the chat. What are your hopes to expand? Are you hoping to stay within the original target wards? And that came from Tracy from Apple.
So first of all, hi, Tracy. I mean, our hopes would pretty much potentially, if everything goes well, to maybe expand to different major cities if everything works out and we see it as a success in Chicago. It could be like main cities in the US, and that would pretty much be, we'd have to pretty much edit our app where it'll pretty much be compatible with different cities. So for example, with us, how in Chicago we have the ward part, we'd have to pretty much think of an idea or an extra implementation when it comes to different cities.
Great. This is from Scott. Oh, go ahead, Angel.
Sorry about that. To answer the second question, for a long-term idea, we haven't thought about something that advanced for augmented reality, but it sounds like a really good, cool idea. As of right now, we aren't that advanced with our development that we would be able to implement augmented reality. But if we were ever to travel down that road, I feel like it would be a really really cool feature to have within our application.
A few comments, and then we'll move to Team Rodex. So Rodex, get ready. I see that there is support with asphalt companies, but it would be awesome to add reputable repair companies and ways that people could support, donate services, or submit donations to help those who can't afford to get their vehicles repaired. It's from Marcus in the Austin community. Another feedback from Ashley, JP Morgan Chase. I'm from Detroit. The same problem exists there. Just an FYI. Salvador, since you can say your thoughts since you are a key contributor to Team Beat Street.
So I'm proud of you guys, how far you've come. I remember your original idea was completely different from Beat Street. And I challenged you guys like, what does your app do that Google doesn't do? And this is what came out, Beat Street, which I'm so proud and thank you for keeping on working on this app. And I'm impressed with how far you guys come.
Thank you, Salvador. Really appreciate it. I mean, honestly, the whole idea, we kind of wanted to do something where our initial idea was something to do COVID related when it comes to like locations of testing facilities and all. And then we pretty much got a bit motivated by Salvador when he mentioned, well, what's so special about your app that Google can't do? So when we thought about that perspective, that pretty much encouraged us to pretty much take on a different problem that isn't really able to be fixed through Google, and that's how we came up with the idea of Beat Streets.
We really
Awesome.
want to thank you to everybody, Ariel, Sal, Sarah, everybody who's helped us got this far. We couldn't have done it without you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. I've seen you present on this like 4 times now, I think, and every time it's just you've taken everyone's feedback and used it, and it was just great to see the amount of traction here and like momentum. So you should be really proud of yourselves. Very impressive. Like the presentation just is crisp, and I really like the images you were showing, where you were showing the old and the new, and then also just the storytelling of like here's somebody and this is the situation and here's what we're doing about it. So great job.
All right, one last thing, Team B Street by the end of the year, version 1, correct?
That's our plan.
That is going to be the plan. Yes, it'll happen. All right, Team Rodex.